Well, that was impressive results, getting not only a four-star Saber with plus attack minus HP, but also later in one of the non-related banners, a plus res minus attack Layla. That's my first one. I did also manage to get pretty much every single unit on the banner with starting off with the plus HP minus attack Elm. I managed to get two Panés, one with plus HP minus defense at number 13, around number 13, and then another one with plus defense minus speed at around number 37. I did also a lot of the off focus ones were probably either I think Asbel with a plus attack minus res, and then another Renak with plus speed minus res were all from side areas. So they were from this banner. The plus attack minus speed Chris, I believe, was from one of the free tickets. And then last but not least is the plus attack minus res New Year's Ash. Of course, I have to spark the duo Asker. At this point, I would say that Focus Charge is not active because I only got two in the banner that I was aiming for if it was an option, which kind of brings me to the point that I want to talk about for this results, and that is my personal thoughts on Focus Charge. Now that it's been out for about a month or so, maybe 2 months, I'd like to talk about what I think the advantages are, the disadvantages that I see, any possible changes, and then since they never made an option for legendary or mythic banners, I'd like to do let see if there's actually a possibility to do them. So first off, the main advantage that I personally see for Focus Charge is the fact that you get a second guarantee during your summoning. That being the fact that if you are pity broken enough times, you change all of the chances to get your off focus units as focus units, or at least there's that possibility. There's no The only guarantee is the fact that they say that the next summon of a 5-star will be a focus unit. They're not saying anything about when you're going to get that. There are definitely some other advantages that I consider for focus charge, that it's actually making summoning a little bit more a little bit easier for some people, and it also might make plus 10ing units a lot easier. But I don't think that that's necessarily a good advantage in comparison to some of the disadvantages. First and foremost is the specific fact that you actually have to keep summoning after hitting that the three lights lighting up, with the proof being in the video that they actually did three full circles or just about 60 orbs before hitting the next 5-star that they had. So they went from a good 7.5% in the original to 9%. And that's like legendary mythic hero banner levels of rate in general. Just like that 9% is 1% off from the starting point of most mythic banners. The second thing that I think is wrong with it, that 4-star focus or special units, despite the fact that they actually enter your barracks as a 5-star, don't count towards the charge. So I kind of made a weird chart for myself in that, like, focus 5 stars are the most important. After that, it's off focus. Then 4-star specials before the focus charge came into play, and then 4-star specials afterwards come right before the line where 3 to 4 stars would be, and this is range of any unit in general. So like units from like the first gen will be like right around here, whereas new gen stuff like Kamui or Vanessa probably would end up right around here. Then you have the 4-star specials afterwards, so regardless of where they are, they're kind of like at the end point. There's certain ones that you do really want to get for 4-star specials, but this also does make me kind of wonder about something, and that is the idea of like, why are these still considered 5 stars, or are they considered 4 stars? Is IS purposely denying us the addition of these units as 4 stars because they don't want us to don't want to give us more 4 stars? What this says to me is that I feel like they're trying to miss something with summoning, and that is the fact that getting pity broken is by far the worst, by far not the worst thing to ever happen during a summoning session. I'm not gonna sugarcoat what I'm saying. I have had really good summoning sessions. This one in particular gave me a massive amount of 5 stars, as well as decent 4-star specials, including enough units that I wanted for either uh, catalog or just kills in general. But I've also had really bad luck. The picture that's on the right side is my results for the Ascended Idun banner just after the Spark. And this is one of those ones where I actually did pull a little bit beyond the Spark because I wanted to try and break my rate. I did not, so I did have to leave this banner off at about 5.25% pity rate, which is horrid in my personal opinion. I say that the Ascended Dune offered me no solace, but for the waste of the orbs, and it was a waste of orbs in general. I really did not feel like the 135 I spent was actually valuable because I all I really got was two Iras and a Bravelin, and the Bravelin didn't even come until after sparking. So I'd like to ask the question for any viewers here is would you consider getting pity broken the worst thing to happen during summonings? I have different experiences towards summoning in general. Like I said, I've gotten very lucky, I've gotten unlucky, I've gotten about average as well. So now, what are some of the ways that you can make Focus Charge much more friendly to free to play players, or more specifically, players that only go to Spark? Because there is no guarantee that you will actually hit that number during Spark. It's very, very unlikely, to be honest. But I thought of like continuation of the charges, a guaranteed pull or a no charge pull, the a slow but uh, active increase on the charge, and then as of right now, I think Legendary and Mythics can actually be made into a chargeable banner, basically. First and foremost, why is it that they decided to kill the charge in between banners? And my personal guess is because that's a good way to get more money out of people. I have no guarantees on that, but one of the big reasons I say that is because you have each banner has its own charge. So this is kind of like a faulty battery in some sense. You're adding into the game a faulty essentially a faulty battery system that only works during one banner and then it goes kaput. So if you're someone who goes to that spark, but and then you at that spark you realize, oh, I have lights. You have either do I pull more, spend money, or do I just waste the charge? Now, granted, you've already gotten lucky enough to get three pity breakers within 40 summons. That's not the worst thing to happen, but I would think that having the charge stick between the same types of banners would be a welcome addition. So, like in the case of in the case of new banners, they all continue on. In case of fallen banners, they all continue on. In the case of special hero banners, they all continue on. Basically, it would be as long as the banner is of the same type, the focus charge continues onward. So, say I only get one charge during a new hero banner, and then the next banner, I have that charge saved up for the next time. So, I only need to hit two in order to hit that focus charge. The second point that I kind of like to raise is a guaranteed pull idea. As opposed to not guaranteeing the next 5-star you pull will actually be a focus unit. I'd rather suggest something that's instead guaranteed to pull. So like instead of at that like at the spark, it checks to see if you have pulled not only getting the three pity breakers, but also no focus units. In which case, they'd give you something in exchange for that charge. But I think the bigger thing is more so offer something to players who miss the charge for their full summon session. So Spark. So what I'm getting at is for this one is that it's actually worse to get your rate non-broken to keep continually gain rate every single circle, and that feels really awful since you spend a massive amount of orbs for a specific banner and get nothing. So for this kind of case, what I would say is if there's like one or less lights that were clicked, that you automatically would get, say, a 3-star version of one of the focus units, because for every single unit, their 1 to 3 star stats actually exist, as well as the skills that they will be able to acquire through leveling up as a 3-star unit or as a 4-star unit. It's just IS doesn't see any reason to add more 1 to 2 stars, probably because no one really wants them anymore. The third and final thought I had would be, instead of having it all release right at once, instead every single time you hit the rate, it changes 1%. So off your first charge, your focus would change into 4%, whereas your off focus would change into 2%. Your second charge would be 5 to off focus 1, and then the final charge would be just the normal results. This one makes it so that the charge actually doesn't make a difference, and also it treats the charge more kind of like a fighting game charge, where as the meter goes up, you can access different skills based on how high your meter is without having to have your meter at full. And this probably would end up being much better for players who get pity broken like once or twice. In that case, you don't even access the original focus charge, but you would still get the the focus charge. And finally, the probable reason why they didn't originally do legendary or mythic banners as a chargeable banner is because every single 5-star, natural 5-star, not 4-star special units, are all focus units. They reduced, basically they exchanged the ability to summon a off focus unit for about 2 extra percent. But what they could do is take, I'm using the Legendary Robin banner for this example. They take, for the focus units, you have Legendary Robin, then you have Rearmed Robin for the colorless, Legendary Female Byleth for the blue, and while I hate to do it, Legendary Seliph for the red. And instead, what you do is you do the focus units at a 5% rate with other off-focus units. So in the case of green, it would be Legendary Xander as well as Thor. For colorless, it would be Elamine and Ashera. Blue would remain as, let's see, Saros and Legendary Fae. And then the red would be Malchez and Gregor. This would allow them to add that charge option to legendary banners. And what they could easily do, if that's the case, is just change the rates a little bit. Instead of being just 8% in total, change the focus to 6 and change the off focus to 4. Make it a total of 10%, because these are also a Fate Pass only sparkable banner, basically. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. Say you have the double mythic and or legendary banners. So, for example, the Fulmortis and Gateau banners. In this case, what we have is an example where two of the main focus units share the same color. Now, they have two specific options for this one. The first option would be just to remove a color. So, in the case of the top option, they have Fulmortis, Gateau, and then they could either choose Rearmed Lif or Legendary Veronica. And I chose blue as Ullr just because of the fodder, because I don't think of, like, Ascended Hilda, Freya, and Legendary Edelgard are all kind of in an awkward position. She's in a normal banner. She will be getting a remix soon, and she's an older mythic who might be getting a remix soon. We really don't know yet. The second option would be to remove one of the focus main new units from the focus unit status. So in the bottom option, it would either be Fulmortis and Gateau. One would be the focus unit of the banner, one would be a regular unit. Then you do the same thing with Lif and Veronica. For green, I'm going to go ahead and say Freya, and then Ullr for the blue. Now, again, if you disagree with my choices for focus units, remember, this is just an example. But it is very, very, very possible to make these banners able to hold a focus charge. I won't say that it's impossible. I won't say that it's easy. I will just say that it is possible to do so. I don't know if IS will ever see reason to do it, but it is one of those cases. So thank you very much for watching. Now that we're at the end, this is one of those rare occasions where I actually have a very, very specific judgment or very heavy opinion on something for the game. So if you have any thoughts regarding my thoughts, feel free to leave them in the comments. And yes, this is wording. If you have any thoughts regarding my thoughts regarding this addition to the summoning, and then, of course, if you like my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. It really does help me out. So with that being said, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in another video.